Welcome to the HPE New Zealand webinar on demand series supported by Ecosystem. Through this series, we're going to be exploring what everything as a service means to you and your organizations. I'm Alan Hesketh. I'm a principal analyst, CIO advisory, and digital transformation for Ecosystem. Our research is actually showing us that even before implementing remote working technologies, most organizations, that's just over half, were re-evaluating their cybersecurity risks and measures. Security remains the leading concern for cloud adoption. Again, about 55–56% of organizations are concerned about it. And the main concerns are reduced client trust and third-party cloud provider vulnerabilities. So today, we're going to be talking with HPE about cybersecurity in the hybrid cloud environment, why paying attention to cybersecurity is increasingly important today, how to develop the right kind of security program for your organization as you adopt a hybrid cloud, and how you embed security deeply into your hybrid cloud solution. Joining me today for this episode is Mike Draper from Hewlett-Packard Enterprise. He's the South Pacific Director for Hybrid Cloud Solutions. Mike, recently we've seen a public escalation of cybersecurity threats. Is this really an escalation, or is it something that's always been with us?
Great question, Alan. Cybersecurity threats have been around for many years. However, it used to be the case that these attacks were the result of lone actors. However, recently we have seen an increase in intensity, sophistication, and seriousness of both the types of attacks and the end user targets. Unfortunately, this is reflective of a well-financed criminal enterprise whose cyber resources often surpass most of those found in mid-sized companies. That's a scary proposition. Recent activities have demonstrated that all organizations, all businesses, regardless of size, regardless of sector, and regardless of location, are targets.
Yeah. What do you think organizations should be doing to address these threats?
Alan, unfortunately, what we're seeing, there's been a significant underinvestment in cybersecurity. So everyone needs to up their game. Security has to be a priority higher than the number one can convey. Organizations should be maintaining and improving their cybersecurity posture by aligning their programs with recognized international standards. What we're seeing is for a lot of folks, it's kind of a once and done. It's not a sprint, it's a journey. Now, there are plenty of great resources available to all organizations that can be used to calibrate your current practice. They include, for example, the Cloud Security Alliance, the Center for Internet Security, CIS, NIST, the Open Web Application Security Project, that's OWASP, which is for developers. NZISM just upgraded their control framework. The threat is not going away, and the stakes are high. Organizations should be modernizing and rethinking their cybersecurity programs. And you need to take a defense in depth approach. There is no single solution. This isn't, okay, let me go out and subscribe to this, anti-malware service and I'll be okay. No, it is a multifaceted problem. Let me give you an example. 80% of the ransomware hacks that have been accomplished by tricking users into making security mistakes or giving away sensitive information. This is known as social engineering, right? Getting users to open an email attachment, or perhaps you're receiving a payment request from what you think is one of your existing vendors, but it's not. Or someone from the help desk that you don't know calling you up saying, we need to reboot your computer. Can you give me your credentials so we can do it? Right? Those are all social engineering hacks, and they're just a few examples. The key here is these criminals are not only attacking your systems, they are attacking the social fabric of your organization.
Yeah, I recently had an example of that where I got an email purporting to be from our CEO asking me to transfer some money to him. Completely bogus.
That's called business email compromise, right? All this a different version of phishing. It's a cat and mouse game. So everyone has to up their game.
So when you start working with clients on their adoption of hybrid cloud, Well, what are the things that are top of mind for you around security?
Great question. As we said, adopting hybrid cloud is transformational in nature, right? It's all about rethinking your business processes, and in particular, rethinking about security and governance. So step one is you need to get all stakeholders on the same page, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you need alignment with the leadership of the organization. So what we do when we go in and work with our clients to establish a hybrid cloud program, we set up a series of workshops with a leadership team, and we get representation from platform engineering, infrastructure and operations, application development, security, risk and compliance, vendor management, legal. And then we work to establish a set of guiding principles and priorities. Step number one. All right, so everyone understands what the priority is. Everyone understands what the guiding principles are. And that's really meant to diffuse future conversations downstream when you roll out your program. The second thing we do is we calibrate the current state of cybersecurity by performing a gap analysis of the current environment against a recommended standard like the Cloud Security Alliance. What this does is it provides them with recommendations on any gaps that they need to immediately remediate. And if they need help remediating, we can certainly help them. But what it does is it establishes a prioritized roadmap. Right? So you have some immediate concerns that you have to address, but then to ultimately get where you need to be, it is typically a multi-month journey. We help them adopt a zero trust defense in depth posture. That is one of our architectural standards that we promote in the work that we do. And the other thing that we promote is automation, right? Automating security and governance best practices will provide organizations with the efficiency and consistency of maintaining standards. Those are just a few of the things that we think about that are top of mind when we go in and we work with our clients about establishing a hybrid cloud program with emphasis on security and governance.
Yeah. So looking at it from your customer's point of view, I mean, what are the common security challenges you see with organizations adopting hybrid cloud?
Yep. And so it's very, very common to see outdated controls, right? For example, they have an acceptable use policy for using telephones and printers, but they don't have an acceptable use policy for using public cloud or hybrid cloud. That's a very oversimplification of an example, but outdated controls, outdated tooling, outdated operational practices. Now, the Cloud Security Alliance has identified 6 areas of security that, if misconfigured in a hybrid cloud environment, can introduce significant vulnerabilities. They are perimeter and infrastructure protection, identity and access management, data protection, encryption and key management, threat and vulnerability management, security logging and monitoring, and configuration management. So the common challenge we see is clients trying to take the tools that they currently have and that they're currently using to manage on-premise data centers and trying to apply them to a hybrid cloud environment. Most of those tools are not fit for purpose. Again, hybrid clouds require new capabilities, new processes, skills, and tools to secure.
You talked a little bit before about some of the cultural challenges. I mean, it's clearly a cultural as well as a technology challenge. What do you see organizations doing to improve their security through developing their organization's culture?
That's great. And we've already seen movement in this area, Alan, as we mentioned, given that 80% of the recent, ransomware attacks were social engineering hacks, what we're seeing is an increased frequency of training, right? So, training used to be once a year. Now we're seeing frequency of communication, frequency of warnings, just to raise, right, the level of awareness within the organization. Also seeing organizations conducting ransomware readiness assessments. If you think about it, you have to ask the question, what if it happened to me? What happened if I was going to be a victim of ransomware? Are we okay? Now my backups go back far enough can I recover? What am I going to do? Who am I going to call? All right. And there are some great tools out there. Some of them are free. Some of them are fee-based, but just to do a readiness assessment. And then also what we're seeing is ethical phishing tests. You have to be careful about this one, Alan, is that you see the security department is sending out emails that have all the attributes of a phishing scam to see if recipients are going to open on an attachment or click a link or do a reply. And what if you do that, you know who you're talking to? You're talking to your friends down in the security department. So that's what we're saying.
Yeah, embarrassingly, one of the companies I was working for caught me that way.
Yeah.
The email was so good, so realistic. I didn't do the usual checks on, does this email valid? Is this something I'm actually expecting to get? I just clicked on the link, and I got this phone call from our CISO sort of just laughing at me. Kind of embarrassing. So anybody can be caught.
It's indicative of the pressures of the day, right?
Yeah,
there's only
absolutely.
so many hours in the day to do the work. People are multitasking, trying to get their work out. Emails are coming and going, and they're boom, 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 and they don't think.
Yep.
And hackers are just taking advantage of that. They're just getting better and better.
Absolutely. So in closing, I mean, what are your key points about cybersecurity for organizations considering using a hybrid cloud?
Alan, I've been doing this for more than 10 years. I've worked with many global financial service organizations, and I can attest to, by taking the right approach, you can significantly improve your hybrid cloud security and compliance risk posture, right? You need to make a security a priority higher than the number one can convey across the organization. As we stated, security and governance needs to be systemic to every architecture and every process. If you have CI/CD pipelines, if you have automated testing, within your systems, you need to embed and think about security upstream, not at the end, right? You need to align your cybersecurity program with recognized international cloud security standards. Our recommendation is to implement a continuous compliance program. What you want to be able to walk in every day. You want to be able to launch a dashboard. You want to be able to see if you're compliant with your control framework that is governing your organization. And Absolutely. If by chance someone slipped up, because it's always human error, right? If, for example, I have multi-factor authentication here. Whoops, I forgot to enable it on this system. Right? You want to have these automated checks that check that and flash a red light at you if you're out of sync. You want to partner with an advisory and professional services team who has the experience and expertise, who can help you provide a roadmap and get to where you want to be. And then lastly, if we learned anything, Alan, you know what? It's a lot easier and a lot less expensive to stay out of trouble than to get out of trouble. So my recommendation is make that investment, and you'll be glad that you did.
It's such a critical aspect today, and I hate to use this word around it, but the professionalism of the bad actors out there is now so good and the impact, as we've seen in New Zealand with recent events, the impact that it can have on all critical organizations is so large.
Everything from hospitals to small towns, right, to banks, to gasoline, to utility pipelines,
to early childhood education. I mean, it's been it's so pervasive now. Mike, thank you for your time today. I really appreciate your insights. Today we talked about the globalization of bad actors in cybersecurity. Every organization can be a target, as shown by the recent SolarWinds and XaaS hacks. To stay ahead of the bad actors in cybersecurity, we need to build our solutions with security as one of the key structural components, not an add-on after the fact. And we need to actively work on the cultural challenges of cybersecurity. This is the fourth in a series of webinars we're going to be releasing, with our next episodes looking into the impact of implementing the hybrid cloud is likely to have on your organization. Thanks for spending time with us today.